House of Representatives moves to restore investors' confidence in Nigeria. House urges prioritization of sound educational foundation as bedrock of Nigeria's development. And House resolves to suspend ongoing recruitment of judges to fill vacancies in high courts of the FCT. Thank you for joining us on You and Your Reps. I'm Victor, as we welcome to the program. The House of Representatives wants the Central Bank of Nigeria to maintain system exchange rate for customs duty and excise below 1,000 naira per dollar to encourage patronage of Nigerian ports. Now, the Green Chamber also calls on the Chief of Army Staff and the Inspector General of Police to deploy more security personnel to some parts of Yobe State with security concerns.
The security concern is coming from the reports of displacement of many rural dwellers with agricultural activities largely paralyzed, leading to economic loss in Fika local government area of Yobe State.
The House notes the state of insecurity in Fika local government area and its environs has assumed a worrisome dimension, as a village called Gurjaje in Fika local government was razed down on Monday, 12th February 2024. We also urge the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, the Northeast Development Commission, and the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to urgently provide relief materials to the affected communities of Gurjaje in Fika local government area, Yobe State.
And the need to rescue the Nigerian economy and restore investors' confidence was also brought to the fore on the floor of the Green Chamber.
Worried that due to the frequent custom exchange rate hikes, Nigerian importers are shifting towards ports in Tema, Ghana, Lomé, Togo, Cotonou, Benin Republic, causing a substantial 65% decrease in cargo importation and business activities at the Nigerian seaports.
Motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to committees on finance, banking and currency, and custom and excise for further legislative actions.
Other motions adopted by the House include that for the channeling of Wase Dam located in Minjibur to neighboring communities in Gezawa, Kano State, and the Manku Dam project in Plateau State, sponsored by Muhammad Shiro Magarba and Ishaya David Lalu. The House also called for the review of the 2024 hard fares, now put at about 5 million naira.
My prayer here is urge the federal government of Nigeria to intervene by subsidizing the hard fare to enable the intended pilgrims to participate in these religious rituals.
Out of the 13 bills presented before the House, 6 were stepped down for another legislative date.
Nigeria must prioritize sound educational foundation for its children as the bedrock of any development. Now, this was the position of the House of Representatives during debate on a motion seeking to address the increasing number of out-of-school children in the country.
5 bills kickstart the day, giving accelerated passage by the legislators, including a bill for an act to amend the Cybercrime Prohibition and Prevention Law 2004, that of National Drug Law Enforcement Agency Act 2004, and an act to establish Federal Medical Center in Apugo, Enugu State. Others are bills to establish Federal University of Science and Technology, Remo, Ogun State, and a bill to establish Federal College of Education, Omu Ore. Lawmakers also adopted 8 motions, among which are recruitment of community policing, need to address problem of out-of-school children, and other infrastructure development issues.
If we don't get it right, if we don't create opportunity for our children to get educated, whatever it is that we set out to achieve in terms of our national plan, it will be a mirage. We will never get to achieve any of them. Thank you.
The objective of these bills, among others, are to ensure that the safety, comfort, and the rights of commuters are prioritized, that the commuters' rights and dignity are promoted and protected, to ensure a national passengers protection plan which shall include
House note with great concern the
existence threats posed by erosion in Indo-Kwais communities along the bank of River Niger, including Abalosumili, Uchi, Okpai, Abalagada, Abo, Adiobiaka, Utuoku, Umoru, Onya communities in Indo-Kwakwan Federal Constituency.
Meanwhile, the bill seeking to alter the constitution and amend presidential to parliamentary system of government has passed first reading at plenary.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has passed a resolution asking the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Abuja, to halt ongoing recruitment of judges to fill vacancies in high courts of the FCT. Adopting a motion by Representative Igariwe Enwo, the House mandated its Committee on Judiciary to investigate the federal character approval of the recruitment process and report to the House for further legislative action.
Citing lack of compliance with the federal character principle and quota system, the House picked holes in the proposed list of states to fill 12 vacant positions in the FCT High Courts.
Whereas every state of the Federation has judges from their respective states appointed in the FCT High Court system, 4 states, namely Ebonyi, Abia, Imo, and Bayelsa, do not have a single indigene from their states appointed and sitting in the FCT High Court system. Worried that Ebonyi State, in particular, is doubly discriminated against in that it has none of its judges appointed in the high courts of the FCT.
It was different strokes for different folks as the House debated a bill to make first degree or its equivalent the minimum educational qualification for election into political offices. The bill was stepped down for further consultations. However, other bills scaled second reading.
To increase the penalty for offenses of female genital mutilation in our country.
To amend the Agricultural Research Council of Nigerian Act to provide for establishment of Federal Institute of Fisheries Research in Bununu, Tafa Balewa local government of Bauchi State.
Other infrastructure motions and the need to monitor increased FAC allocations to states were adopted.
State governors have refused to complement the federal government poverty amelioration efforts. Urge the Ecological Fund Office to immediately commence remediation work to address the erosion problem by building drainage in the affected areas in Bashidu Federal Constituency.
Lawmakers also called for drastic action against health facilities still refusing to treat accident or gunshot patients without police reports.
Elsewhere, the House of Representatives Committee on Nigeria-Saudi Arabia Parliamentary Friendship Group has played host to a delegation of the Saudi Arabian Parliament known as the Shura Council. The visit gave members of the committee opportunity to address grey areas in a bid to deepen bilateral relations between both countries.
Unfortunately, Nigeria is taking the 3rd position as the country having the largest number of out-of-school children in the world, following India and Pakistan. That's a very concerning situation. With the resources of the country and very good partners and friends around the world, we believe this can be tackled and changed head-on.
We know we have many people from Nigeria that are living in Saudi. We know some, they have the resident permit to live there, some they do not have. But what we witness when we always be in Saudi Arabia, we always look our people living there redundant. What we saw, like, you are not giving them opportunity to go to school of learning, particularly into the higher institution of learning. You have to give them a chance to go to school, because if they have knowledge, they will not be problem to you, and also when they come back to us, they will not be problem to us.
Qatar, they have a Qatar charity, and they have their country director, They are making provision for construction of mosques, Islamia school, and provision of water. I don't know whether this Shura Council had the same function or they have something alike. And at the same time, if you have, this is a good opportunity for us here because we are representing our people. So I will appeal to you if there is any similar project to give consideration to the representative of the people so that we can identify some of our places you can do that kind of project.
Please bear in mind that we need to have a PAC or MOU. In that document, we are going to state all area of emphasis, that will bind the two parliaments.
Leader of the Saudi Arabian delegation, Dr. Abdullah Al-Salama, addressed some of the issues.
Higher education, as you know, it's very costly. Even for our people, some people going to school, we didn't find the place, and they pay for themselves. And you can find this practice in UK and other part of the world. But anyway, also we give some scholarship through the Embassy of Saudi Arabia for the people even from Nigeria itself. Also, with respect to the brother who mentioned something about Qatar al-Khairiyya, we have similar things in Saudi Arabia. We have Muassasat al-Malik Salman, King Salman organization for relief also and helping. And it's acting and spending a lot of money. And
now, chairman of the Nigeria-Saudi Parliamentary Friendship Group, Abdul Qadir Rahis, expressed optimism that the relationship will also enhance investment opportunities for citizens of both countries and expand cooperation, particularly on the economic, security, and education fronts. The House of Representatives is investigating alleged leakages and non-remittance of revenue generated through the Remitter platforms. Now, officials of Remitter, the Central Bank of Nigeria, Ministry of Finance, and other financial institutions have therefore been summoned by the Committee on Public Accounts to explain their roles on the Remitter payment platform and the issues thereof.
Briefing committee members, Managing Director of the Remitter platform says the sum of 34.3 trillion naira was paid to the Federation account between 2015 and 2022, refuting claims of overcharging and compromise. Despite the presence of the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Finance, and staff of the Office of the Accountant General to clarify issues, committee members insist on the appearance of the Minister, the CBN Governor, and the Accountant General of the Federation before the committee.
This Constitutional Committee was given the mandate by the House of Representatives to carry out this investigation. As the resolution was communicated to the committee by the clerk of the House of Representatives, we have started with documentation for the purpose of having an effective investigative hearing.
By way of clarification, sir, the CPN as our regulators and engagers on this assignment clearly stipulated the terms applicable for the TSA fees at 150 naira per transaction for all services, irrespective of the amount of revenue to government per transaction.
In a related development, the Senate Committee on Public Accounts has directed Nigeria Ports Authority to expedite process of recovering outstanding debts and furnish the committee with evidence of payment to government treasury.
All important committee, you are directed and it shall be conveyed or communicated to you in writing. No payment of a dime should be made to Niger Global until this committee is has fully sorted out pending issues on channel management. This is a directive from the Senate, Public Accounts Committee. This is the directive, and it shall be communicated to you in writing.
The shipping part of NNPC held meeting with us, and it was their CEOs that came to our headquarters. we have now set up a committee to sit down and reconcile, because we have unreconciled some of almost 2 years, and then they have also committed to finding documentation that would enable them to take a decision on these legacy debts.
More revenue-generating agencies are to appear before the committee sittings.
Now, plenary is one of the commonest parliamentary terms and activities. But what does it entail and what are the dimensions? Now, that's a question for Chair of the House Committee on Rules and Business, Francis Waive.
Plenary is the general meeting of the entire members of the Parliament. If you take the House of Reps, for example, we have 360 members in Nigeria's House of Representatives. When there is a meeting wherein the 360 are present, are required to be present, that's the plenary session. And it's usually presided over by the Speaker, or in his absence, the Deputy. And in plenary, members move motions, they sponsor bills. So bills are taken first reading, second reading, referred from there to committees, and committees do their work, which goes on to hearings, public hearings, investigative hearings, and come back to plenary. That's the meeting of the entire House. But I must say that there's also the Committee of the Whole. In the Committee of the Whole is also the entire members. We must distinguish the Committee of the Whole from the plenary. Plenary is decision-making by everybody. But at the Committee of the Whole, which is a committee of everybody, in the House of Representatives, the Deputy Speaker presides, whereas in the Senate, the Senate President presides. In the House, the Speaker presides over if it's a money bill that is going to be considered by the Committee of the Whole, in this case referred to as the Committee on Supply. Now, that committee only does clause-by-clause consideration of the bills that are presented, but they don't deal with motion. At that point, the Committee of the Whole does not have the power to jettison any bill. They only fine-tune it, make sure the grammar is correct, the sense conveyed is portrayed properly. Whereas in plenary, motions are moved, supported, people speak in support, speak against bills that are presented, and so on and so forth in plenary. And every member is entitled to speak as long as you are recognized by Mr. Speaker for the purpose of order on the floor.
This week on You and Your Reps, the committee segment takes a look at delegated legislation. The Deputy Chair of the House Committee on Delegated Legislation, Dominic Okafor, tells us about the mandate and workings of the committee.
The mandate, of course, you know that, for instance, in Nigeria, you have over 700, 800 MDAs, government-owned enterprises, parastatals, and each of these, most of these parastatals were set up based on acts of the parliament. When I say act, I mean laws that set them up. So primarily, one of the major functions of this delegated legislation is to ensure that these parastatals are running these parastatals according to the acts that set them up. So our major problem is to oversight these parastatals, engage with them to ensure that they are not shortchanging the government and also not shortchanging the people of Nigeria. This kind of committee requires a lot of academic work. You're going to be engaging the legal departments of many of these agencies, and of course, to draft a bill is not is not every Dick, Tom and Harry business. Before we went for Christmas holidays, I can say that we've engaged more than 30 of them. And the chairman of this committee, Right Honorable Bamishere, is also a very seasoned, parliamentarian, and he has actually been doing a lot of, showing a lot of leadership. And very soon, we just resumed on the 30th of January. We resumed and then, went on short break again to enable people who had run an election. And so now that we're back, we're expecting that in less than 2 weeks, we're going to be engaging with so many of them.
Without a doubt, effective oversight is essential to actualizing the government's renewed hope agenda. And that's been you and your reps. Thank you for your time. I am Victor, as I'll see you next time.